as you can see on the screen, today we are working with structures in C, which is very important concept in C programming or in any other programming. Whenever we have to go for the object oriented programmings like classes and objects. So before earlier we were using structures in C. Structure is basically like a box, which is where we are going to put different types of data together, and different types of datas are there in a particular box, and the data is called as, with whatever data we are putting, that is called as members. How we are going to declare it? We are using a variable, we are using the variable names, we are using the structure name, and we have to make sure that there is a one particular keyword that is called as struct. Struct. So every time whenever we are declaring a structure, we have to declare it with struct keyword. This thing you have to always and always remember of. Now when we say structure, why we are working with structures? So you have to always remember, if we are not working with structures, our variables, whatever we are, for example, we want to store 10,000 records, so all the records will be stored randomly. That means anywhere in the memory, maybe one will be in the 1000 location and another will be in the 6000 location or 7000 location. So in case of structures, the data will be contiguous. Contiguous means it will be one after another. What does it mean? It means if one particular variable inside the structure is at 1000 location, the another can be 1004, another can be 1008, in the similar manner, one after the another. So this thing you have to always and always remember. How it is going to allocate? You have to always remember there is a one thing called as object. Object means whenever we are creating a structure, we have to make sure that there should be a one particular variable which is declared, that is called an object. We will see practically how it is going to be, but you have to always remember, whenever there is a structure concept, there will be a concept of objects. So this thing you have to remember. One more thing you have to remember, whenever we have to declare a structure, it can be declared with the help of two types: inside the main, that is your main programming, or outside the main programming. This thing you have to always and always remember. So let's start with our structure, how we are going to work with the structures, how we are working with structures. Okay, so let me start what exactly the structure will be. So if we start with the structures, this is outside, when I am saying this is outside the main, and when I start with the structures, it can be outside, it can be inside. When I say object, object will allocate as much as memory which is required by the structure, I told you structure can be declared with the help of a keyword struct. We assume that person is a name of a structure, is a box where we are going to store the different types of data which we are going to store now. So suppose the data is integer int EID, that is employee ID, and the different data is char name, and I am putting a name here. So I say this is name. In this way you can store the different datas. It can be float, it can be char, it can be different data types, right? So I am taking two datas, that is integer and character. It will allocate the memory, but we have to put a semicolon here. And as I told you, if I just try to run the code directly as I was working with the other programs, if I say printf, enter the EID with the semicolon, I need to put scanf here. I say %d is the variable and ampersand. What is the variable? EID is, I think EID I have taken, yes, with the semicolon. In the similar manner, I have to use a printf, enter the name with the semicolon here, and I use a getters. Getters is for getting the string, complete string. So I say n is a variable. This is my earlier method when I was working. So I have declared it inside the structure, and I am just calling them. I am just putting the variables like this, and I am just want to run the code. This will not run. Why? The reason behind is because the variable n is undeclared. It says N is undeclared, EID is undeclared. The reason behind is why? Because these are the variables which are not global now. Global means which are not here. They are inside a box. We are storing that in a box. Why? Because we want the data should be one after the another. It should not, waste the memory. It should be in a one particular box. So, but I have to access this data from the box, because compiler will not access like this, because EID is a variable. It can be declared here. If I declare EID here, now it will not give you the error for EID because I have declared it inside the main, but EID is declared inside the box. So I have not mentioned that box, calling here. So this is the way how you have to call it here. So you need to put keyword struct again. You need to put the structure name, and then you need to mention a variable, that it can be P, it can be Q, it can be anything. We mention P as variable. Now if you just go with this P, what does it mean? If I say int P, so it means P is a variable which is a type of integer. So we had already worked with these type of variables. Now if I am not using int P, I am using struct %P. So P is a variable here, you have to remember, which is holding as much as memory required by person. What is person? So person is what? Person is a structure. So it's a structure, though that means how much memory P has to allocate. So this will be your 4 bytes and this will be your 10 bytes. So 10 plus 4, that is 14 bytes are allocated with the help of P. So that's the reason it's a variable, but we treat it as a special variable because it is allocating the different types of you can say primitive data types memory. So we call it as a one particular name, that is called as object. So basically, if in an interview, if somebody will ask you, so you have to say it like that. So P is a variable, but why we are calling it as a special variable? Because it is not allocating the integer or string or char it or float. It is allocating the as much as memory which is required by the structure itself. So that's the reason a particular name is given to it, object. Okay, so one more thing you have to remember, whenever you have, if I have allocated P is like a, I am giving you an example. P is like a, for example, there is a box of chocolates and I want to take a chocolate from the box. So I have to open the lid or the cover of the chocolate box. Then I can, take the chocolate and then I put back again the lid or I close it with that particular cover. In the similar manner, P is an object which is responsible for holding the memory as much as required. So we need to put that particular object with that variable. That's the reason it is not accessing through without EID. So we say P.EID. Every time you have to remember, you have to assess the values. You can assess the values through object dot the variable. Whatever the variable is, you need to mention the object dot this. So if I say again here P dot, so now if I just try to run the code, now it has nothing or no error there and it will work like it is working earlier, right? But it is not here, it is not giving you the correct form. Why? Because it is not prompting for the name. The reason behind is we need to enter one function before entering getS, fflush. That is, fflush is a function which is used for clearing the previous data so that my next data should be input properly. If I just try to run the code and I just go with it, and if I enter EID now it will say in a proper manner. In this way, you can add the float data also. If I say float here, if I mention the float data, float salary is a field, so I can add it. So now I just need to enter one more thing here. So I say printf, I say enter the salary of employee, or whatever you can put it here. So basically structures are for record making. So if you ask me why the structures are, whenever you have to make some records in C programming or C++ programming, you use this type concept of you can say structures, because it will allocate your you can say it will allocate your memory in a proper, it will utilize your memory in a proper manner. So I'm saying semicolon with, you have to put ampersand here. Now if I just try to run the code and I say okay, just try to run the code, and it will give you the employee ID and the name and the salary of your employee, whatever you want to. In this way, now I want to display the thing with whatever the values are there. So the thing will be what? Printf again, and I say you can print in any order, that is your choice. So I say eid is %d/n every time. So p dot, every time you have to put object, otherwise it will show you an error, because it is inside the box and we need to, because memory is allocating through the object, so we need to mention object dot. So remember the chocolate box, whenever you have to take the chocolate, you have to open the box, so you have to cover the lid, so you have to remember that thing. So eid with the semicolon, and now you have to repeat the same statement, but you have to change the values. So what I use here, it will be name is, instead of %d I say %s, instead of eid I say n, and the last one is your salary. So what you will say, salary, you can put anything whatever you want, salary is, but the format specifier will be f, and here the variable should be as it is. Now here you need not to put /n if you want, but it is no use of to put /n here, so because there is no data. Run it and now see whether it's working or not. Okay, I think I have done something wrong here, because I have not put double commas. See, this is the when we just work with quickly and all, so you need to put comma. These are the basic things, and in this way you can work with the programming. Yes, eid is 1, name is Anik, salary is something something something, and we are getting exactly the data what I want. Okay, very good. So we consider that, okay, we are now clear that structure person is a structure, it is holding the values one after the another, and the object is used for accessing the values. We know that it's a box, but practically we have not seen yet that how it is contiguous one after the another. That means it is not storing the values randomly, as we are saying the conventional programming, whatever we have done till the time. We have in the first day lecture we have done the name, roll number, and we are saying that it is storing in the random manner, and in here it is not storing the random manner. So how we are going to do it in a practical, because C++ or any other programming, it's all about practical, it's not theory. So what we will do, eid is %d, and we will say at %d, and here what we will put comma and ampersand p dot eid, and here again we will say the same statement. You have to put at %d, and here you will say comma ampersand p dot n, because we know that how we have seen in pointers also, how we are to go with the address and all. So p dot sal, and here you will say at %d, because it's an address, so address can't be in a floats and all. So we need to run it, and if we just put it in a run form, and we will say 1, and we will give a name, we will give the random salary, and you will see the output. eid is at 642284, 642288, and this is at 642230. If you just go with the bytes, how many number of bytes eid is? Eid is integer, so 4 byte. Name is after 4 bytes, so 4 byte has been taken by eid, and 10 bytes has been taken by your why it's taking 12, because null and extra is there. Null, we know the strings is at the end, it's stored with a null. So you can say contiguous memory location is there, one after the another. In this way you can see, okay, this is a concept of structures. The data is one after the another. That means memory is not in a random manner, it has not taken the memory in the random manner. Okay, hope this is clear to you. Now the next thing is, I have already mentioned you that structure can be declared inside and outside. So how we are going to declare that? This is the outside concept. When we are going with the inside, so cut it from this, nothing you have to do. You can just delete this line from this, paste inside, That's it. Now if I just try to run the code, it will not work because I have not mentioned anywhere P, that is object. So you need to mention the P after the closing inside the semicolon. You need to mention P, not here, inside this. So P closing then semicolon. That's it. This is the one thing you have to change. So this is the thing you have to always mention. Now if you just try to run the code will work as it was working earlier. So okay, so we just delete it first and then we try to control S, then we try to, sometimes it happens, sometimes it do your compiler, when you many times run the program. So EID, then the name, whatever name, that is your choice, random salary, whatever you want, and in this way it will give you the exactly the same output it was giving earlier. Okay, so this is the way how inside outside structures are. What is structure, what is object? These are the questions which are generally asked in the interviews, and that time you are little confused about what is an object exactly. If you are declaring in a person and if you are not making an object of it, it has no use because memory will not be allocated and your problem will not be solved. So you need to make it sure that every time the object should be there, and the structures are used for storing the different type of data together. Like array was used for storing the same type of data, here the structures are used for storing the different type of data in a one particular box, whether it's inside or outside, that is your choice. Hope this is clear to you now. What is structures, how it is implemented, what is object, how it is implemented. Hope you like the content, and if you really like the content, put a thumbs up, share with your friends, subscribe the channel, and I will definitely meet you in the next chapter of programming. Till then, take care. Bye bye.